I've been hobby filmmaking since the early 2000s. I started off with a little digital 8 Sony camera, just a little bag, your standard kit, and I didn't have much. But with that little $20 tripod from Walmart, my accessory bag for that Sony camera, the digital 8, few cords, nothing major. Obviously, like most hobby people, like most humans who enjoy a certain hobby, I started collecting stuff. My gear upgraded. I made my first documentary. I'd say about 2015, I believe, is when I first started that documentary. I started off on some Nikon cameras. I had 2 Nikon cameras. And then I got a little bit more serious about doing podcasts. I got a little bit more serious about doing, I guess you could call it real production. Still not the greatest, still hobby, but a little bit more serious about it. My gear upgraded. With it, more cords, more accessories, more stuff to haul around, more gadgets to haul around, and it became cumbersome. I used to travel with bags. Every camera that I have, its own individual bag with its accessories, power supply, HDMI cables, USB cables, microphones, that type of stuff. But now I have to carry around a bag for each one of them. And I started to look for alternatives. I started to look for ways to carry my gear around without it being too much of a hassle. Now, I'm poor, very low budget. My first documentary was low budget. Now, I'm not low budget like indie filmmaker low budget. I am low budget. Like if I have $50 extra to buy an SD card, I'll do it. Back when they were $50, I will do that. When I mean low budget, I mean low budget, extreme low budget. So all of the alternatives that I found were for the Milwaukee packouts. Everybody, Milwaukee packouts. To me, that's high end. To me, you're doing just fine if you got a Milwaukee packout, because you're looking at $500 plus to get a decent Milwaukee packout. I don't have $500 plus to spend on a hobby. I spend the money that I do have on the gear, on the camera, and even that you could say it's not that much. So I went out and I seen some Craftsman, their version of the packouts. I started off with this one right here. I don't know if you can see it very well. This one's called the VersaStack, the Craftsman VersaStack. I think on sale, I got the entire thing. It's got 3 bins. I'll roll some B-roll with this. It's got 3 bins. Up at the top, what you can see is just the small one with little containers, so you can. I put adapters and stuff like that in there. And now I'm using this for the house because I did upgrade. You could call that an upgrade. It's the poor man's upgrade. And I went over to the TradeStack. I guess it's their professional version of it. There's reasons why I did it. This one, again, about $70, got the whole shebang. This one was on sale. I ended up getting 3 of them. So I got 3 for the price of one singular packout system. And for me, it works out. I like the way you can interchange stuff. I do like their compartments. The Milwaukee one is amazing, but it's sometimes a little bulky. I like this one. I'll probably be rolling it right now, but I do like this one because for my particular cameras, I have 3 separate cameras, the one that we're looking at right now. When I really got serious about filmmaking and hobby producing and doing live events and podcasts, when I got serious about that, I got my very first camera. In fact, I'm going to roll through it. It's camera 3, just letting the people at the switchboard know. Camera 3 is the very first one that I got when I started getting serious about that. Hopefully I'm on camera 3. And that is the Panasonic HC-X1. Then after I got that one, I went to camera 2, which is the UX180, the UX180. I stayed with Panasonic, the Panasonic UX180. And then after that, I went to camera 1, which is the one we were on. and that is the DVX200, the DVX200. And then just recently, I decided, along with my son, that we were going to get super serious, and we got a Blackmagic pocket cinema camera 4K. All of these cameras, every single one of these cameras requires their own power supply. Every single one of these cameras requires batteries, and every single one of these cameras has a tripod, and every single one of these cameras has their own little accessory that kind of goes along with them. And then you have audio equipment. It's getting smaller and smaller now, but it's still cumbersome. But again, I was saying I like these because although this one, I believe the one that I'm on right now, camera number 3, the very first one that I got, I bought it used. I bought it used. I think I paid like $1,000 back then, which was kind of a price point at that time was pretty good. So I bought it used. No packaging. The other ones I bought brand new. So camera number 2, I bought it brand new, and that one has its containers. So I found out that in this one, the TradeStack, the main one with the wheels, if I take the original packaging, because I'm one of these weirdos that keeps all of the original packaging, because you just never know. It sucks to admit it, but I hoard. I often criticize my wife for being a hoarder, but I myself like to hoard original packaging. I still have, I don't know if you can see it here, and that's fine if we can't, but the Wireless Pro packaging for this thing right here, it's just the packaging. But I like to keep it, and I tried it. I put in the styrofoam that it comes in the box. I slipped it in there, and it's perfect, like a glove. Something I couldn't do with the Milwaukee. Now, that's me trying to justify why this is better than the Milwaukee. And it's easier to accept that I'm just poor and I can't afford 3 times $500. Again, I'd much rather spend that money on the gear, the equipment. It's better to spend the money on that because my budget is really, really small. But I started off with the VersaStack is what they call it, and it was fine. It was okay. And then very quickly, I did, I think I did one event where I was hauling everything. In fact, I got the 30-gallon big rolling container, and I was filming part of my second documentary, I was filming part of my second documentary, and I was excited. I had the VersaStack, I had their 30-gallon big rolling container, and I got a bunch of foam, and I put all 3 of my cameras, my Panasonic cameras on there. Those are more broadcasting cameras, so they do kind of well on all that stuff, autofocus, all that stuff, something that I like when you're running and gunning, not having to deal with the focus and all that stuff. So I could fit all 3 of them in that big 30-gallon container. Exciting. And then I realized, well, what if I just need one? I don't have the bags anymore. The bags are in storage. In fact, I think they're for sale right now. The bags are in storage. So if I wanted to just carry one around, I'd have to go get the one bag for that one camera and then put it back. And it became this real problem where it's awesome if I need all 3 of them to carry all 3 of them out all at the same time. But if I just need one, if there's an event where I just need one, it becomes a pain. And then also, I had all of the stuff in one singular stack. This VersaStack, I had it all. So all of the cables to all 3 cameras were in one. All of the accessories, the microphones, everything that's to a certain degree interchangeable, but I'm OCD. So I keep it specific to one singular camera, but now it's all kind of mixed in. So trying to find where the batteries are at for one camera or the power pack for another one. Again, interchangeable, but if I have one that's specific for the other one because of the size of it, the DVX200, I think the one that I'm on right now, it's a slightly larger camera. The sensor's a Micro Four Thirds sensor, so the sensor's a little bit bigger than the other ones. The other ones are older or very old technology. So this one's like the better of the Panasonic ones, so it requires more power. So I like to have a slightly larger battery and sometimes even two on it. So it became a hassle on trying to organize everything. And then when I seen these on sale, for me, it was still pretty expensive, $150 each. But now it was easier. These come off, again, I'll just do the B-roll. These come off significantly easier than this old school style one of the Versus stack. The TradeStack comes off a little bit easier, but then they're still interchangeable. So if there's something in this compartment that I need for a shoot that goes with this other camera, I can take it with me. Now I could do that with the other ones, but they're smaller. The packaging works perfectly on this one. These new TradeStack also come with an adapter, and that adapter I can use these Versus stacks. So if I still wanted to use some of the Versus stack, I can place the adapter and continue using it. So again, I do like the fact that they stack, but that's not unique. DeWalt does that, Milwaukee does that, Rigid does that. They all do that. So nothing unique, but between these two, the handle on the TradeStack is significantly more sturdy. This one, I thought it was cool, but the way it lifts up is just one singular aluminum pole. It looks like, I think it's aluminum pole. And when you start to roll it, you realize how flimsy it is. And I think they knew that. I don't think, there's no way they didn't know that, but I don't think they had enough beta testers, I guess, if you will. But it was pretty flimsy. And then when you try to lift it, if you have any significant type of weight, I'm running into that problem now with just tools. When you try and roll it, you feel it wobbling around because, again, it's one singular pole. So if for whatever reason you don't have it perfectly balanced, then you feel the weight on one side more than the other, and it causes some wobble. This one right here, the Versus stack, the TradeStack, the newer version, it comes off as two really solid injected molded plastic, really solid, comes up together. So now you have two sides. So now that balancing issue isn't as big of a problem as it was before. This one also, because it's more sturdy and it has more surface area on the handle, you can wrap around a cord. It's got little hooks for accessories and that type of stuff. So all around a little bit more rigid, a lot more rigid actually. The way it snaps in is not as flimsy. These ones, I don't know if I'll be able to show you properly, but they hold. I never had one fall, and I never had one not do what it was supposed to do. But I think any big fall, any significant fall, and these little tabs will just fly off, because that's really all it is. There's no real click. There's no real snap. It's not super easy to move, but again, there's no significant snap. Now with these ones, you've got more of a snap. It snaps in 3 different places. So again, the stacking is just a lot better. Compartments are still pretty awesome. And yeah, the compartments are, I do like the fact that this one kind of comes with the clear one, so I can see. This one does not. This one, I have to lift it up. But you can buy separately. You can buy one that's a TradeStack one, or again, with the adapter, you can just use this one. But I do like the clear one on the TradeStack. I think if they combine the good things about this one added to this one, but such as life, that's a very minor thing for me. But anyways, this is how I do the moving stuff around. It is 3 instead of 1, but again, for me, if I need 1 camera or 2 cameras, I just take that. If I need all of them, it's not super difficult to take all 3 of these stacks. I travel. I have been traveling in a old Discovery, 2003 Discovery, and that one's pretty hefty on size, and they all fit in there pretty well, along with the 3 or 4 tripods that I'm taking. But with all of this, it's pretty easy. I do think that the 30 gallon container that came with the I bought it separately, so I misspoke. It did not come with it. It was a separate purchase that was on sale. I think I paid like $50 for that one. I think there's still a use for it, and I wish I could justify that more. It is easy to take all 3 cameras, but I will say it was a lot more difficult to put the cameras in there and then kind of take them all out, because now you have foam. Foam doesn't fit in that one as awesome. So you have multiple pieces of foam. I was using plug foam. Again, with this one, it's the styrofoam that it came with. The HC-X1, that camera right there is, again, that one is on the plug foam. So that one, it is what it is. But in these, it's pretty easy, because I just bought a sheet of plug foam, and it fits in there, and I just cut it out, and everything's fine. Go back over to the Blackmagic camera. But yeah, this is my setup. This is my my humble setup. The rolling on this is significantly better. The handle on this is significantly better. It is a little bit wider. It seems like all 3 of the bins, compartments, whatever it is, the stacks, whatever it is you want to call them, they are a little bit larger. You'll see the difference when I'm doing the B-roll. Again, the container one, I wish it was clear, but it is what it is. The handle is a lot more sturdy, because now it's essentially 2 handles that you have instead of the one. And I still have room for a lot of stuff. In fact, I found myself with a lot of empty space. The cordage was still an issue, because now I'm still having a lot of cords in one singular bin. So I ended up buying a cord bag, and that just makes more sense. I have in one stack everything I need for one camera. Everything that I need for one camera is in one stack. An HDMI cable. The very first camera that I bought, that one is not SDI. The other one, the Blackmagic, is not an SDI camera. It's HDMI only. But the other 2 Panasonics, they are SDIs. So the SDI cables, microphones that I might use with that particular one. In one of them, I have the Marsh 4, the Hollyland Marsh 4 for when I want to do so. But again, like the Hollyland Marsh 4 can go with any of the cameras, and I could just take the top stack out or the top bin out and then add it to the other one and swap them out. And I really like that. That is another point that I would give to the VersaStack. The VersaStack up at the front has old school file tabs where you can put whatever it is, and then it's easier to identify. This TradeStack doesn't come with that. This TradeStack, so I'm probably going to, I do have them color coded, so I know which camera's which, so I can see where the stuff goes. And that is one thing that I did like about the VersaStack, the older version, or I guess not the commercial version of the Craftsman. The TradeStack doesn't have that. I wish it did have that, but gaffer's tape, that's probably what I'm going to do, gaffer's tape, and add what I'm going to do. I'm still trying to figure out where everything is the most efficient to have. But yeah, the cables, all of that stuff, I now put in a separate bag. I bought a cable bag on Amazon. I might do a video about that. It's a pretty sweet bag, $50, but that's where I have all of my XLR cables. That's where I have my extra microphones. That's where I have extra HDMI cables. I have a ton of HDMI cables that I carry. If you are also a poor hobby filmmaker, obviously I'm trying to not be a hobby filmmaker. I'm trying to do this a little bit more professionally, which is why I invest in the gear, because that's I don't want to get to a point where I hate doing this, because it gets pretty easy to take a hobby, something you enjoy, to something you absolutely hate. But this is affordable. It's pretty nifty. If you are on a budget between these two, I would say get the TradeStack. Don't make the mistake that I made. I ended up buying 2 of these. I have 2 of the VersaStacks, And I will say that I wish I would have just stuck with the TradeStack from the beginning. It would have been great. But now I have something to put my tools in, the power tools and automotive tools and stuff like that. So if you are a poor filmmaker like me on a budget, or if you're just somebody who prefers to spend money on gear, and even if it's poor people's gear, you would rather spend stuff on gear versus stuff that lugs around your gear, check it out. It's the Craftsman TradeStack. Again, this video is serving kind of threefold. I'm testing out the image quality on all of the cameras, but I want to take the opportunity while I do that to talk about these TradeStacks. And I also, later on, we are doing the switching on an ATEM Mini Extreme. I've had that for a very long time. There's plenty of reviews on that, plenty of videos on that. But my son helped me make a very low budget travel switching case, a studio, I guess, if you will, production little case. We made it off of the Apache 5800, I believe. And I'm testing that out and see how it works. He 3D printed the base where the ATEM Mini goes. So we're just testing out that it doesn't warp, doing all that stuff. And I think he wants to try and sell them. I made, like I usually do, I made the poor man's version. Obviously, the one he makes is going to be a little bit different for production, but we're testing that out as well. And we're going to make a video about that as well. We're going to make a video about what it has and what the features are. And obviously, the one we show you is not going to be the same one that you can buy from him. This is the time when people tell you like and subscribe. Do that if you want. You've been on YouTube or wherever it is you're consuming this long enough, you know what to do if you want to. And if not, I'm not going to beg you for it. But if you do like the stuff, obviously it helps us out. So do the things that people do on social media. Do the sharing of the stuff. Add comments. I'm always interested to know how poor people, such as myself, do it. I like to know. I'm poor, and I like to find out. Every time I watch a video and it's people saying low budget, they got a red camera, and it's like, I'm sure it's low budget for them, but that's still not low budget for me. Or they have 13 FX6s and they have all of that stuff, and for me that's just simply not low budget. So anyways, do the sharing, do the subscribing, add comments. Let me know how you do it to lug stuff around that's low budget. If you have a Milwaukee pack out, you can comment to let us know how snooty you are and that you've got the money to do it. But if you're low budget, you got the Bauer from, I think it's Bauer from Harbor Freight. How's that working out? Those are the things that I want to know. But anyways, I appreciate you guys' time. I'm going to shut up now so I don't continue rambling. Thanks.